Hi guys, this is Doug Jessop with another episode of the Caring Stories. Now, I'm excited about this one. I have got some pretty cool people. We've got Dr. Rich Greenberg and his wife, Carrie Greenberg. So, Carrie, you're a stay-at-home mom. You're married to a pediatrician, so you guys are kind of the ultimate power couple. And you've now started this new conference with pediatric feeding. I got to hear more.
Well, our daughter, Marla, was an infant and had a feeding tube and several medical issues. And it was really, it was a hard thing to have a child who did not eat. And so we struggled looking for ways to get her the therapies that she needed. We kind of hit a wall with looking for what was here locally. It felt like we exhausted those resources with our therapists. And so we started going to places like California and Arizona, looking for what would help Marla. And it took us about 7.5 years to get her eating with intensive feeding therapies. And in our struggle, because it is such a hard thing to be a mom who feels like you're failing, not being able to feed your child. And so in our struggle, I realized too that other parents were struggling with this, and that the therapists needed more resources and connections. And so the idea of putting the Pediatric Feeding Symposium was born out of the necessity of needing something local that would provide people with connection and resources and knowledge to have a way to help parents find the support that they need.
So, Dr. Greenberg, I mean, you are a pediatrician that's seen all kinds of things. But you're also a parent, okay? And, you know, I understand, I mean, where you go, okay, you feel helpless. And there's something that, you know, you're trying to figure out. And this symposium thing, to me, is doing the ultimate, which is giving parents hope. But for the people out there watching, how prevalent are these feeding disorders, and how do you recognize them? I mean, what's kind of the things to watch out for?
Yeah. Pediatric feeding disorders are rather common. They occur in about 3% of children under 5, so that's about 20 times more common than something like Down syndrome.
Wow.
Even though we've heard about many things like Down syndrome, very few people know about pediatric feeding disorders. It's very different than an eating disorder such as anorexia. In a feeding disorder, a child is unable or unwilling to eat orally. These happen for a variety of reasons. They're often multifactorial. They're medical reasons and developmental reasons, things such as cleft palate, Down syndrome can be associated, autism, sometimes psychological and other traumatic factors are involved. The implications lead to obviously nutritional deficiencies, and many of these kids often require tube feeding to sustain them nutritionally. In order to treat these kids, you need a specialized team. Pediatrician, occupational therapist, speech and feeding therapist, psychologist, dietitian. So it takes a whole community to take care of these kids. It's crucial to be able to recognize it quickly and treat it, because if it's not diagnosed quickly and treated, it can lead to long-term negative impacts on their physical and mental health, therefore emphasizing the importance of quick recognition, diagnosis, and treatment of these children.
You guys are doing something really special.
Thank you.
She's a stay-at-home mom who puts on a medical conference. I told her 8 years ago, a person doesn't put on a conference. A hospital puts on a conference. A team of 4 to 6 people, as their part or full-time job, put on a conference. One woman just put her 6th conference on, with some help from me, with some part-time help, very part-time help from a few other people. It's amazing, it's crazy, it's super stressful. It shouldn't be done. I keep telling her to stop, and she keeps doing it.
Well, now, Carrie, I'm going to make you blush, but the reality is, you know, you're a stay-at-home mom, and like your husband, the doctor, said here, I mean, this is not something that normal people do. I mean, but I understand it because some of the most powerful people that I've met are super moms and super dads because they're doing something for their kids. And if you can just help one person not have to go through the stuff you've gone through, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So I totally understand your why. But what are you trying to accomplish with this?
The main thing I'm trying to accomplish with the Pediatric Feeding Symposium is connection. So many parents feel alone in this journey, and so the way that I decided to bring help and hope to these families is through a conference, because we can bring education and collaboration and research all to one place, and it accomplishes our goals through putting on a pediatric feeding conference. And with the symposium, we try to hit each year the four main domains of pediatric feeding disorders, which is medical, psychological, nutrition, and feeding skills. And so we will bring experts in from across the nation as well as from local, and everybody just collaborates and we learn from these people, and it's a beautiful thing to see the connections that happen during our breaks and before and after the conference. And it provides these parents who also get to come an opportunity for the extra knowledge and expertise and connections that they make with our exhibitors and our providers that are there.
Well, the thing I love about this, and there's a phrase that's called knowledge is power. And you've got the ultimate power couple here. Here's a super mom and the dad that has got all this knowledge and these skills and says, okay, how can we combine this and make 1 + 1 = 3? But you guys are going 1 + 1 = 3 billion. So I love what you're doing. But the other thing that I like is the fact that you're giving a forum not just for parents, but also for the medical field, because you brought up the team approach, to be able to have this team. So people out there are watching this right now going, okay, maybe I am dealing with this, or I know someone else that is dealing with this, or I have a patient that's dealing with this. How do they find out more about your Pediatric Feeding Symposium?
Well, our Pediatric Feeding Symposium is a yearly conference each September, and we have a hub of information at our website, pedfeed.org, and on there people can find all kinds of information or some resources, but the main thing you will find on there is the information about the conference and any socials that we will put on that help with this community connection. And you can also follow us on our social medias, Pediatric Feeding Community.
So you're putting a heck of a lot of work into this. You're providing all these speakers. You've got, I mean, let's get real. Everybody has got costs and everything. How can people and maybe companies out there help with this Pediatric Feeding Symposium?
We're able to run the symposium by wonderful sponsors and donors who help provide venues or meals, which is our time to connect with our exhibitors. Sponsors and exhibitors are a big part of our conference and making that community. And they also get the added benefits of a very active and involved and interested community who is looking for resources for their children and for the children that they help.
Well, talking about engaged people, I mean, having been at some of these kind of events, if you're a potential exhibitor, I guarantee these are the people you want to be in front of. So thank you so much for what you're doing, because, I think sometimes, and yeah, I'm going to get a little schmaltzy on you, but, sometimes I don't think you guys understand what you're doing when you're doing it. And so you look back and you say, okay, here are all these people. And having had a child that has had some issues, the two big things you want to know is, what in the world am I dealing with? Mm-hmm. And number two, I feel so alone. Yeah. What you're doing, quite bluntly, is giving people hope. So thank you so much for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
With another episode of The Caring Stories with Carrie and Dr. Rich Greenberg, I'm Doug Jessop.